Okay, so by this point you should have completed your brain vomit, and it might be that you started to look for images of what that might represent. Remember, try and find ones that are labeled for reuse or Creative Commons. Look for images from yourself or your friends where possible. Make sure they're not cliched and make sure they are delivering the message that you want and helping you. So once you've done your brain vomit and initial explorations, the next step we'll be doing is the compositions and media explorations. So we'll go through our ideas, figure out how we can refine them, how we can deliver that message, that narrative, say what we want to say it well, make sure we can draw the images that we're thinking of. Have a little go with painting, have a little go with exploring the materials, exploring our techniques before we pick our final idea and grid it to scale. So we're looking at those two things today. So for this part in your sketchbook, go away. You'll be assessed for criteria C. So criteria C, the first part that we're looking for is that it's a feasible, clear, imaginative and coherent artistic intention. So make sure that your annotations are showing what it is that you're thinking and what it is that you're doing, and we can understand all the ideas that you're developing. The next thing is that it's a range and depth of creative thinking behaviours. So what we're looking for is that you have lots of different ideas that you play with, that you try out. You have compositions, you have colours, you have little swatches of the colours. Maybe you try something, it doesn't work, you try something else. Little samples of a part of it, for example, trying to do something, trying to paint that. You want to capture this idea. Looking at the reference images. So it's a real rich, exciting body of work that shows you're super engaged, that you're thinking about all these different things, you're trying to combine them, you're trying to connect them. Okay? So here's an example of where you might have got to. So you've got your step 1, brain vomit and initial exploration completed. So here we've got an example on the left-hand side of a final painting ideas in a mind map. And what they've done afterwards is gone through, as you can see with my little highlighted section at the bottom, is highlight words and star words that they think are interesting. And then they've pulled those through. So the example here is this political one that she's thought about how that could turn into compositions. Here, we've got another example where that initial planning might just be a visual, different sketches in a visual format. And we've got little stars that I've put a square in red around there about compositions that they might want to refine and look at in more detail. I've just put the annotations on here for you. Okay, so remember our informed, skillful, narrative and original piece. So here the annotation underneath says Thai architecture painted in TD, I couldn't quite read the words, style, while the modern elements are painted realistically. And we've got an example here of 2 different canvases, show an idea of it going over 2 canvases or maybe on one canvas with 2 different frames. And I've got our reference images on at the bottom there. And you can see a very clear idea of what they're wanting you to understand from this image. On the other one, it says the Buddha's face should not stand out the most. The Buddha's face should stand out the most in gold, so the boy, although coloured, should be blurred. So here they've started to think about that skillful and that narrative being combined together. How can they help deliver a message through the use of media? How can they start to combine the techniques with the message? Okay? The next side, they've started to think about combining, this is a good example of combining the artist reference with their work. So they've put these images in that would show what they were looking for the aesthetics to be. They've annotated to say, reflection of a woman, traditional Thai hairstyle, Thai costume clothing, traditional makeup, cosmetics, skin products, labelling all these different elements of the image and then giving us the meaning. And then at the bottom you've got these lovely swatches of the colours that they think they would use and how they reflect the artist that they've referenced. This one's a really nice example where they've got lots of different colours that they've used, lots of different practices, lots of different studies, real investigation. This isn't just doing it for the sake of doing it. This is them really trying to figure out how would they try and capture the right skin tone, the right wash, how would they use those colours to create the right thing. And here they said, I decided to change the background from the original buildings dripping down the back. This gave it more of a mix between the urban and modern, the historical and the Buddha. I think I would combine both of my ideas. I will keep her white for the ethereal or serene look, but add buildings to the background. So that annotation is just behind it, but it was quite hard to read. So you can see there, they've got a development of ideas, and they've said, I've thought about combining these ideas, which shows that maybe they've had one idea that they like to part of, maybe they have a different idea that they like to part of, and they've started to build them together and started to combine them. So you've got this really exciting combination where they've engaged, and you can see that these decisions are being made to deliver the message. Gave it more of a mix between, dripping down their back, trying to change it. Like, they've thought about what decisions they're making and why they're making those decisions. Okay? Here we've got some more examples of that idea of appropriation or pastiche, taking these contemporary imagery and combining it with something historical. So you've got the Buddha, the Thai sculpture, cannot remember its name, with the biker jacket on, so the motorcycle taxi jacket on it. So they've played with these two images together, making it kind of fun, pastiching both those imagery. And then you've got a different idea here on the other side. So they're not necessarily connected, but you can see that there's a connection between them, contemporary and historical living in harmony, or contemporary and historical pulled together. Okay? So you play with your ideas now. Think about how you can use those reference images. Think about how you can use those to create your final idea. Really excited to see what you do with it.